utensil do we need to eat the future? Let's let things cool and become puffy. Remember when I was this tall, flourishing know-nothing at the height of the drawing pencils? I never thought I'd win, so I haven't prepared much.
What is this? My follicle in dialogue. Malhomogeneity. Who is the perpetrator?
Wow, the circulation bubbles like butter and melts away.
Utter aloneness, empty, jittery babbling on your own. The others' ears fold up to deflect your noise. I don't care what you think you are, who you think you're with, or whether you're in a relationship with anybody. I'm patterns in the floorboards staring in the bank, unchanging faces of the sloth and the wood imp and the impressionist cyclops emerging from the scuffed mortar, dark soul trainer marks on the floor. But it's not there, utter and total hollow per future. Most of the time I'm hungry, dinner can never come too often, my legs are going numb. At this stage, I'm confronting the greatness of man's achievements.
And this room. Moralize the masses.
In here. It is all in here. Hear it all in hear it all. At all. Can you hear me, Major? Can you hear 'em and can you scare them in their care homes, in the places where they scare them? In here, in their homes for the night, at Nottingham Contemporary, New Contemporaries, at this very night. Rather, day follows that in the beginning it would of course follow that this is the day for me, it is the night for you. It is one day, and rather it was one day, but rather it was night, and it was day, it was the first day of all days. Today of all days, of all the days, of all the bars, it had to be you in here, with all the surrounded by all that nothing, but you in here all the same, and driving us all to the last pub in all the Nottinghams. The last, will you go on like this, or like the last of the summer of some things of Sumerian script, the last speak the last of the postscripts, and type the last of your Sumerian typefaces? It was, of course, she had, of course, one of those particular typefaces, one of those particular types of faces. which could bring you crashing onto the rocks of the coast of Nottingham, somewhere near of all the bars in all the Midlands. Why did you have to walk into the last, what was it? The last trip, ye old trip, it was of course the ye old without an E trip to Jerusalem is one of the several pubs that you could have walked into, but you did not, did you? You walked into this one, which is not really a pub, but why be afraid of speaking and stop speaking and take off your checkouts in love with huge metal, but what utensils will we use in the future? All the drawing pencils in the International Arts Centre with a strong sense of local purpose, with an exhibition programme I never thought I would win, because I, so my lofty palms did not prepare much, and stop this right now, this monstrously hunk of Herculean sarcasm with a strong sense of this world, with a strong sense of programme, with an E. He has been described as entirely incomprehensible, as entirely lights out, as the running order says, as the handy cosmic pizza we just love to eat up walking along corridors, bankers restocking their stockings with the lights out just in time to clock out at the pump iron indoors, quite apart, and then described as constantly inventive by the observer, which in turn was slouched like a bleeding lava from the top of Mount Something, while our underpants are shrinking, and butter and melts away and continues to provide that hunk of buttery Herculean sarcasm from behind the programme of lofty palms and greased up monkeys, falling down all the way into the cracked open ones, bleeding milk, curdled into cosmic cheese in order to feed a pizza erupting from Mount Calzone. It is useful way of working, I explain, not so much a stream of consciousness as much as it might be termed a baby. You okay? Yes, I am fine. I'm in the middle of typing a performance. How's it going? Where are you? I am a British newspaper published on Sundays in the same place on the tall tales of all the days, of all the bars, of all the tall tales and all the small things bright and beautiful, much easier to think of as a series of what is it? A series of pulses just about to start, very exciting, in the International Arts Centre with a strong sense of local pump iron was famous for what it Nottingham famous for, showing results for what is Nottingham famous for, search instead for what is Nottingham famous for, lace, made by machine, is quite the important role in the evening, in the morning it was day, it was the first day of all the days today, of all days, of all the days, of all the bars it had to be you in here with all the... It was the night. It was the knot, it was the nothing, and how so to the arrow must it fly over the shadow Home Secretary of its former self, woven into the fabric of the city, where Wood Lane meets the bypass, woven into the capital of the world, with 1/3 of the population earning their living in America in the trade, 2/3 of them women, woven into the empty, littering, jittering, babbling at the blank, unchanging sound comes back in. I can hear her, all glued to the toilet seat with hot hands, Bournemouth to her body's Dorset, hot palms, in a rambling was, or was it an inside, and that passed over, so that this too, or was it an in sickness and in health, or was it this summer, like the last of the summer of some things of Sumerian script, the last speak, the last of the postscript and type, the last of your Sumerian language is the language of ancient summer memories of French fries losing focus, allowing the final version to be wholly walk this way, and then stand up and go that way, holding a projectile weapon like a huge metal, but the utensils we use in the fuse will be the projectile weapon systems of old trips, holding a fold in the pizza crust, hanging on for dear, an actual abandon arrow that follow, that this is the day for me, and so it goes, that the wild fire catching to the corners of your pizza slice, while Napoleon eats the other corner, while Napoleon eats all the pizza and nobody really wanted it anyway. That predates the whole of mankind and the greatness of man's achievements, and of course that predates that which predicates the recording of history, or rather it is the bow that records history, or rather it is the bow that predates recorded history now, and it is of course common to most cultures, as is the art, the practice, the skill, the particular types of faces, the particular types of contemporaries that this very night, or rather day, follows, that every type of contempt and every kind of well fallen down and picked myself up and get back in the race, that hunk of buttery pizza, and nobody really wanted it anyway. Who wants to deal with that kind of meal? Not me. I don't eat players' cigarettes. I don't eat boots. But how is that? I don't eat night. I don't eat day. I don't write from Byron, who penned the first poems, or Boots, who married and found an entrepreneurial spirit which saw a little shop in Goosegate turn into a global crashing onto the rocks of the coast of Nottingham via D.H. Lawrence. with his work littered with empty, glittery, babbling references to his origins in Eastwood, and his new contemporary, who captured the grit of the city where Wood Lane meets the bypass woven into great woe. And this room is the grandest of standing stand-ins. Beginning it would, of course, follow that in a rambling, and these are the crusades, and the only thing worth fighting is the old trip, an trip to Jerusalem at the end of the rock on which the castle is built, attached to several caves carved out of the soft, buttery Herculean sandstone. It is one day, and rather it is one day alone. It is one day here. I'll be here spinning about, accumulating your debris and the ons thing. One day today, which is my day, but your night. It is this day, but it is that night. It is daytime over here. It is nighttime over there. It is worth fighting. It is there in the home. It is there alone today. It is the 7th day. It is the 7th day of October 2001. Day of all days, not that there is anything you would not want. My face is all wet, my chin is wet. Milk. My today, I wish today of all days, the day, this day, did not end.